On April the 10th, around 3:50 that morning, a text was sent to me saying I'm leaving and not coming back.
Houston, Texas, April 2026. Ashanti Allen, 23-year-old, was in the final stages of her pregnancy, carrying her first child who would soon enter the world. Her life revolved around preparing to welcome her little angel in a local apartment. Living with her and sharing a romantic relationship was 24-year-old Kevin Foe, who was also the biological father of the child. On the surface, this was a young family getting ready to welcome a new member, but beneath that exterior lay a relationship filled with fractures and a history of unresolved violence in their private lives. On April 10, 2026, in the parking lot of the apartment building in Houston, this cruelty began to reveal itself through deliberate actions. Kevin Foe lured Ashanti Allen away from the safe confines of the apartment to step outside under the pretext of resolving a personal dispute. Without a single suspicion about the dark intentions hidden behind her boyfriend's calm exterior, the 8-month pregnant woman stepped out into the deserted area. The moment the opportunity arose, the coldness of the perpetrator instantly filled the space. Foe did not hesitate or waver at the sight of the woman bearing the responsibility of bringing their little angel into the world. He approached his target from behind and proceeded to take her life using a cord he had brought along. He looped the cord around the victim's neck, tightening it with immense force, turning the parking lot into a unilateral execution ground. The entire process unfolded with a terrifying apathy. No prolonged cries for help could escape into the falling night, only the desperate, futile resistance of a mother trying to protect the child in her womb. Foe held the cord tight until all life left Ashanti Allen, completely ignoring the fact that the lives of both mother and child were resting in his cold-blooded hands. When the victim collapsed and no longer moved, the perpetrator proceeded to search her personal belongings to steal valuables, while using the cell phone of the person he had just murdered to make a FaceTime call to show off her body to an online acquaintance. The grim truth began to surface on April 10, 2026, when Ashanti Allen's mother received a strange text message sent from her daughter's phone. The short and unusual message, "Mom, I'm leaving and won't be coming back," immediately sparked a bad intuition. The panicked mother immediately went to check on her daughter's apartment in Houston. Inside, the scene was desolate. The car was missing, and the purse was completely ransacked with no one in sight. In extreme anxiety, she immediately called the police, kicking off an urgent search for her whereabouts. Immediately after receiving the missing person report, the Houston Police Department arrived at the victim's apartment to conduct an initial inspection. Upon entering, the officers immediately noted distinct abnormal signs. Belongings were ransacked and scattered, the keys and car were gone, and the atmosphere was terrifyingly silent. Please remember to click like, subscribe, and turn on notification bells so you don't miss any upcoming real crime cases. Thank you very much. Not stopping at recording the status of the residence, the police immediately shifted their focus to extracting closed-circuit television, CCTV footage, from the apartment complex and coordinating the extraction of mobile phone location data. Footage from the cameras captured the victim walking out to the parking lot with the suspect but never returning. Combined with the unusual text message content and the total radio silence, investigators quickly determined that this was not merely a runaway or a routine missing person case, but the sign of a serious, premeditated murder. After Ashanti Allen's body was discovered near Chimney Rock Road, the scene was cordoned off by the Houston Police Department to facilitate the forensic investigation. Crime scene investigators recorded the position of the body, took photographs, mapped the scene, and collected all physical traces according to criminal investigation procedures. All related samples and evidence were then sealed and transferred to specialized forensic units. Ashanti's body was taken to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences for an autopsy. According to results released in the investigative file, the cause of death was determined to be ligature strangulation, and the manner of death was classified as homicide. The examination also confirmed that Ashanti was approximately 8 months pregnant at the time of her death. Parallel to the forensic results, investigators continued to cross-reference evidence gathered from the scene with electronic data and other investigative documents. Surveillance camera footage capturing Ashanti's last appearance, cell phone data, credit card transaction information after she lost contact, and witness statements regarding the FaceTime call were all incorporated into the analysis process. When independent sources of evidence began to align regarding the timeline and sequence of events, the investigative team had the basis to narrow down the scope of the investigation and focus on a specific suspect. After determining this was a murder, the Houston Police Department transferred the entire case file to the Homicide Division to expand the investigation. The initial goal for investigators was to accurately reconstruct the final hours of Ashanti Allen's timeline to determine whom she had met, where she traveled, and what events occurred before she lost contact. One of the first pieces of evidence analyzed was the surveillance camera system at the apartment complex where Ashanti lived. Footage showed her leaving the parking lot with Kevin Foe on April 10, 2026. After that time, investigators found no imagery showing Ashanti returning or continuing to appear at familiar locations. This discovery significantly narrowed down the time frame requiring investigative focus. Alongside analyzing surveillance footage, investigators gathered data from the victim's mobile phone, communication history, and financial activity. They discovered that Ashanti's phone had activity after the time her family believed she had lost contact. Transactions involving her credit cards were also reviewed to determine the time, location, and user. This data was then cross-referenced with timestamps from the surveillance cameras to check the consistency of the chain of events. During the investigation, police also spoke with relatives, friends, colleagues, and individuals who had recent contact with Ashanti to rule out other possibilities, including voluntary departure or involvement of an unidentified third party. However, statements and collected data did not support these hypotheses. A crucial turning point emerged when investigators received a statement from a witness who reported receiving a FaceTime call from Kevin Foe. According to investigative records cited by the press, the witness stated that during this call, Kevin pointed the camera toward Ashanti's body. That information was immediately verified by investigators using electronic data, call history, and other evidence, rather than relying solely on a single statement. At the same time, Kevin Foe's criminal record was reviewed. Investigators confirmed that prior domestic violence incidents involving Kevin and Ashanti had been documented. When all evidence from surveillance cameras, phone data, financial activity, witness statements, and related records was placed side by side, the investigation narrowed to a single direction. By this point, investigators believed they had sufficient grounds to move to the next phase of the case. In the days after the Houston Police Department identified Kevin Foe as the primary suspect and issued an arrest warrant, information about the subject was swiftly transferred to the U.S. Marshals Service to coordinate a federal manhunt. According to investigative records, Kevin left Texas via a Greyhound bus after using Ashanti Allen's credit card. His journey across multiple locations forced law enforcement to continuously update information from transaction data, communication leads, and multi-agency coordination. By April 20, 2026, tracking efforts led U.S. Marshals to the state of Louisiana. After verifying Kevin Foe's location, authorities deployed a tactical approach and apprehension plan in accordance with standard procedures for arresting a fugitive. According to announcements from authorities, Kevin was arrested without incident or resistance. The manhunt concluded swiftly, and the suspect was immediately taken into custody. Following initial procedures in Louisiana, Kevin Foe was extradited back to Harris County, Texas, to face charges issued by the court. He was booked into the Harris County Jail and held pending subsequent legal proceedings. The arrest of Kevin Foe closed a multi-day manhunt, but for investigators, that was only the beginning. Ahead of them lay an even more critical task: finalizing the complete chain of evidence to prove every detail of the case in court. In the Harris County Police interrogation room, Kevin Foe faced investigators in cold silence. Initially, the suspect maintained an unbelievable outward calmness, repeatedly denying any involvement in his girlfriend's disappearance. He attempted to evade questions, offering fragmented excuses to hide his travel schedule and claiming complete ignorance of the victim's whereabouts on the day of the incident. However, the police interrogation strategy relied entirely on tightening the net with irrefutable evidence. Instead of arguing with the suspect's false statements, investigators laid piece after piece of ironclad evidence on the table. CCTV footage capturing the exact moment he walked out to the parking lot with the victim, transaction logs of the victim's credit card used fraudulently after her disappearance, and, most notably, the chilling FaceTime data log from the call he made to a witness. Cornered by digital data and sharp witness testimonies, Fo's defense began to crumble. He could no longer maintain his initial arrogant facade, replaced instead by heavy silence, stuttered answers, and inconsistencies under deep police questioning. His failure to explain physical traces and monetary movements completely shattered the suspect's wall of lies. To firmly close the legal net around Kevin Fo, the Harris County District Attorney's Office and the investigative team focused on compiling and chaining together a robust system of physical evidence. The indictment file relied not merely on testimony, but was built from undeniable forensic traces and electronic data. Key physical clues included the recovered ligature cord, combined with biological and forensic traces from the parking lot scene and the Chimney Rock Park marsh area. These data points matched autopsy results, confirming mechanical asphyxiation as the cause of death. Additionally, electronic evidence played a crucial role as police successfully extracted the victim's credit card history, used immediately after the murder, alongside a Greyhound bus ticket receipt for his escape journey to Louisiana. Crucially, statements from core witnesses, including the recipient of the FaceTime call showing the victim's body and a relative who provided the threatening text message, completed the full picture of the suspect's calculated, cold-blooded crime. The convergence of evidence from surveillance cameras, mobile phone location data, financial transaction histories, and particularly the prior domestic violence record established solid legal grounds for authorities to officially upgrade charges and transition the case to the criminal trial phase with the highest sentencing framework. Tension filled the courtroom in Harris County as the official trial commenced. Before the judge and jury, the prosecutor representing the state delivered a rigorous indictment accusing Kevin Fo of capital murder for taking the life of Ashanti Allen and her unborn 8-month-old child. On the opposing side, defense attorneys struggled to find mitigating arguments, attempting to focus on impulsive psychological factors to save their client from the harshest penalty. However, all soothing rhetoric became meaningless against the weight of truth and the outcry of justice. The prosecutor recreated the calculated cruelty of the perpetrator through previously unreleased angles of the case, exposing the cold-blooded nature of an individual with a history of domestic violence who had been released early. Facing the bench, Kevin Fo confronted a historic verdict amid public alienation and the heartbreak of the victim's family. As the presiding judge read the final verdict, the gavel struck down decisively, sealing the fate of the wrongdoer. There was no leniency for this ultimate crime. Kevin Fo was officially sentenced to the maximum penalty under Texas criminal law, facing the death penalty or life imprisonment without parole. The gavel strike closed a painful chapter, while ringing out as a bell signaling the end of a journey to seek justice for the young mother and her unborn child who perished forever. The verdict concluded criminal proceedings, but left a heavy resonance in Houston's public sentiment and online communities across the United States. Outrage spread across social media regarding the brutality of the case, accompanied by a wave of profound sympathy for young mother Ashanti Allen and the child who never saw the light of day. There were no controversies regarding the severity of the sentence. The majority of the public and women's advocacy organizations agreed that the punishment handed down to Kevin Fo matched the crime he committed. On social forums, the incident remained a focal point of discussion regarding the importance of early recognition of domestic violence signs, prompting calls for tighter measures to protect vulnerable women from impending violence. Do you think this sentence was truly fair for the ultimate crime Kevin Fo committed against the young mother and her unborn child? Was this severe punishment deterrent enough? Or does the legal system still have blind spots that need tightening to protect women from domestic violence? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Every closed case leaves behind not only a sentence or punishment behind prison walls, but also opens a cold vacuum regarding irreversible consequences. Ashanti Allen's story serves as a painful low note, reminding us of the steep price of tolerance and fragile boundaries within seemingly familiar relationships. In modern life, the boundary between a home and a trap is sometimes separated only by silence. The greatest pain lies not in recognizing human cruelty, but in warning signs being ignored until it is too late. A history of violence, extreme control, or compromises made in the name of love never simply vanish with time. Instead, they simmer and grow, nurturing the malice of the wrongdoer and leaving victims to suffer alone in their own safe spaces. Humanity's greatest mistake is sometimes not placing trust in the wrong place, but believing that a violent nature can change through tolerance alone. Reality has proven that evil does not shrink when met with weakness. It merely waits for an opportunity to erupt into a total tragedy, stealing both the future of a young mother and the life of an innocent, unborn child. Their passing leaves a freezing silence for those left behind, serving as a strict wake-up call on the necessity of staying alert and decisively letting go of toxic relationships before it is too late. Because once certain injuries happen, time will never be enough to heal them, and some mistakes will never grant a second chance to start over. Thank you all very much for watching this story to the end. If you found this video engaging and compelling, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a constructive comment below to support us in producing more attractive content. See you all in the next cases.